Hello YouTube, this is Zach, and today I'm going to be analyzing Maphra's cover of Unethical. I don't really know anything about Maphra. It was recommended to me by a couple of people. Kirk McCune from the Charismatic Voice, he told me to check this out. I do not know what this is. I do not know what style it is. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. So here we go. Here goes nothing.
Vertigo in your arms. 1 second you hate me, then it's false alarm. That's just what you always do every time. Watch me when I break and say it's paradise.
Okay, so I don't really know much about production, so I'm not the right person to talk to about this, but like that's that mic is loud compared to the music. I don't know, it's hard to, it almost sounds like it distorts the voice a little bit. Like I don't mean distortion isn't like metal distortion. I mean distortion is in like it makes it harder to hear the voice itself. Again, I don't know what it would take. Maybe it's just as simple as turning it down. It makes it almost hard to hear the voice. But what I do hear in the singing sound up to this point is obviously alto timbre, dark, low, rich kind of timbre. It almost has a little bit of that like Sleep Token kind of sound on it. I don't know anything about her background as a musician. Maybe some of you all can enlighten me on that. But yeah, so far she sounds good. It's a little bit processed sounding. You know, it kind of has a little bit of that modern vocalist kind of thing. And I'm kind of, you know, I'm very much a purist when it comes to singing. You know, I have an opera background, and so I learned to sing from the perspective of use the room, and that's your amplification. You know, I didn't even really learn to sing using microphones, so you know, I know that in modern music, there's kind of this mindset of use the tools that are available to you to enhance the sound. And so I can hear that, you know, and obviously I'm not much of a person with production. I do have a video with my great friend, John Scherer, where we talked about K-pop Demon Hunters. We kind of talked about the production. He's a professional. He does this stuff for a living. So he knows a lot more about this kind of thing and how things are produced, but it does have that like modern production sound on the singing. But as far as the tone of her voice and what her voice is doing, I mean, it sounds like she's got stable vocal cord closure, so there's not a lot of extra air passing through the folds. Her voice is very low, absolutely an alto type sound. You know, I'll listen a bit more, but yeah, so far it definitely has the hallmarks of that alto, modern, popular music singing sound. Definitely an alto. Let's see what we got. Let's keep going a bit.
My body of flame. Lock me up and close the door when it rains.
Yeah, it's very loud.
Maybe it's my fault I put you up so high. Darling, I think you can make the devil cry. And I've been waiting for the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you? No, you don't even care.
Good sense of line. This particular section right here, I'll go back a bit. This whatever she's doing here, like she does a good job of keeping a stable sense of line. Like there's one singular line through the whole phrase. I think it's right here.
For the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you?
Yeah, the way that she sings a line, then the RU at the end has a nice kind of taper off. It's a good sense of line. So when you talk about line in singing, the idea is that much like how when we speak, our voices carry a contour. It kind of carries like a flow through our conversation. And I don't know if it's just a subconscious thing. I don't know if it's just because of it's the way the language is developed, but we kind of come to expect a certain emphasis on certain words or certain parts of phrases. So if I started randomly emphasizing words in these unusual ways, well, all of a sudden the contour, the line of my speaking gets all messed up and my ideas get distorted, or it's kind of hard maybe for you to even understand what I'm talking about or what I'm saying. And that kind of correlates into music. When we sing, we want our lines to kind of match the way that we would speak it, or at least match the music in a way that makes sense. And this last little segment, she does a good job of following a musical contour, and it gives it a sense of musicality. It gives it a sense of freedom. It gives it a sense of understandability. You're able to connect with it. So that's pretty good. I mean, I've worked with people for years in the past that can never really get that line thing down. So that's a good thing going for her for sure in this case.
No, you don't even care. How can you stand and walk?
good control of the head voice. So she goes from the top of that down from the head voice into the chest voice, M2 into M1. Cricothyroid engagement is what controls the M2 predominantly. I mean, that's a whole thing I've talked about many times. I won't go too much into it here, but basically the idea is that when you're in your head voice like that, there's two predominant muscles that control the cord closure. You've got your TA or your chest voice, and then you've got the CT, which is the cricothyroid, which predominantly controls the head voice. They basically cause the vocal cords to close at different amounts of pressure. The lighter the pressure, the softer the sound, and that's kind of what makes the heady sound. I don't want to get too sciencey. That's the general idea. When you hear her flip up into that higher sounding voice, that is her moving into her head voice, and she does a good job of navigating it up there, and it doesn't sound you don't get too much of a distinction between the two voices. You know, sometimes when people are developing their head voices, or people end up developing their head voices, there's this massive change between the head voice and the chest voice sound. And so there's this whole passaggio concept, which is where you have to navigate through the transition. So like, oh, that's me kind of doing like a siren up and, you know, through the passaggio. But if my passaggio were bad, it would be like, oh, kind of have that yodely sound. She does a good job of keeping the sound from the passaggio through the passaggio relatively consistent. So that's pretty good. But yeah, again, the sense of musicality, sense of line is the biggest thing that I'm hearing with her singing. That's the most impressive to me so far.
Just to let you in is a little bit unethical. Got me on my knees. Have you any mercy every time you hurt me, baby?
I know I stopped it pretty soon, but I just want to give myself a little caveat here. I don't know the original song. I know this is a cover. So she could be singing this exactly the way the song is supposed to be sung, you know, and I wouldn't know because I don't know the actual song. So bear with me if my commentary isn't as accurate, you know, on that regard. Maybe she's singing this exactly the way it should be done, and if she is, I would not know the difference, guys, so sorry. In case you did not know, it is harder than ever to grow on this platform, so please like and subscribe. It helps me out so much. There are like 80% of you who watch these videos who don't subscribe. Click the subscribe button, please. It helps me so much. On that note, I also am a professional singing teacher. I teach voice lessons for a living. Join my Discord server if you're interested in that kind of thing. I teach all the time. I'd be more than happy to give you a free assessment. It's totally free, 30 minutes, where you can get a good idea of where your voice is at, and we can game plan for the future from there. I also have a Patreon, I have memberships, I have a merch store, all kinds of ways that you can support this channel. Please consider supporting me. I would appreciate it so much. Thank you, and back to the video.
Have I not given you enough? If you ever love me, let me go.
Yeah, good line, good legato.
I don't know what it is. Got me wrapped around your cold fingertips. Maybe it's my fault I can't back away. Maybe I just started feeling and then was.
I these days I try not to be too critical of singers anymore on my channel, just because I don't want to draw the ire of the angry fan bases at me. But my criticism here isn't necessarily with their singing, it's definitely with the way that it's produced. It actually makes me think of a song called Sorceress by Opeth. That song is a cool song, and when the song came out, I remember hearing the bass, and it was just like like the bass was just so prominent in the mix that I don't know, it distracted me from being able to just enjoy the song, and the whole album was kind of mixed like that. And I remember thinking, like, this album could have been so good, but the mix is so off. I get that same impression here. Like, there's something about the production, or there's something about the balance where the way that the voice is, it's not even cutting through the mix. It sounds like it's like pounding my eardrums when I listen to it compared to the piano and everything else. And that's not a problem with Maphra's singing. That's not an issue with her singing at all. But the production has distorted the voice so much that it's almost hard to hear some of the technical details of the singing. And so that's not a complaint I have against her as a singer at all. It's just the way it's produced takes away, I think, from the final product a little bit. And I don't know enough about the topic to tell her what could be done differently, but it distracts and detracts a little bit from the performance, I think.
Shame, I've been waiting on the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you? No, you don't even care. How can you stand in words?
Melisma.
I'm breaking all my bones, trying to hold you close. Come on, right out my body.
One thing that's really nice about her singing here that I'm actually able to pay attention to a bit is if you look at her shoulders when she breathes, you can hear the breath very clearly through the microphone, but when you watch her shoulders, they don't raise. She's getting a low breath. She's not getting this top heavy breathing thing going on. So that's pretty nice. You see that so much in popular singers, metal singers. It doesn't matter the genre, jazz, even, you see a lot of these like contemporary singers with really high, shallow breathing. You don't see that from her at all. Really low, stable breath. And I've noticed it multiple times. Like I'm watching specifically for it, and those shoulders stay completely stable. So that's really good.
Tearing up my skin just to let you in is a little bit unethical. Got me on my knees, have any mercy every time you hurt me, baby. Tell me I've not given you enough. If you ever love me, let me go. Let me go. I'll let you go.
One thing that's funny that the comment I was about to make, and I freeze frame it here. One thing that I think has been pretty good about her singing as well is that her embouchures, her lip shaping has been pretty consistent. She kind of has, I don't mean this in a negative way at all, and I don't mean this in like a talk too much, like people say I have a big mouth. She kind of has a bigger mouth, like her mouth shape is naturally a little bit bigger, and so it'd be very easy for her embouchure to like way out wide, but it's been pretty consistent. The lip shape has been pretty consistent, regardless of the vowel choice that she's been making. So that's good too, because a lot of times if your embouchure gets too wide, if your lips get way too wide, your mouth gets too open, it causes tension in the upper parts of the face, and sometimes it can even create tension underneath the jaw. So pretty good job of keeping the embouchure consistent. I like to be, I like to say keep the embouchure narrow, but again, she's kind of got a bigger mouth. And so people with like big mouths like that, it can be really hard it can almost be detrimental to try to force people's embouchures to be really tight when they have kind of slightly bigger shaped mouth. So I think she does a good job of navigating her embouchure here. But like even in this big open mouth that we have here, like you can still see that the jaws drop predominantly, and you don't see the sides of the mouth going out too wide. Like if I go back a few frames, so you can see the sides of the mouth here stay pretty consistent in their width, even when it's higher like that. It doesn't go out sideways too much. So the fact that she's doing more jaw dropping and making the mouth opening process more vertical is a very good thing. And so that's another, good sign, a good thing about her singing technique for sure.
If you let me go, let me. I've been waiting on the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you? No, you don't even care. How can you stand and watch while I'm breaking all my bones, trying to hold you close? Come on, right out my body, tearing off my skin just to
Edge.
let you in. It's not a bit unethical.
I'm not a vocal distortion expert. There are plenty of them out there, and Mark Garrett's really good. Check him out. This Carterbox Academy. I'm not an expert on this kind of stuff, so when I hear that, I can say I think it sounds cool, but I don't know a ton about it. When I did go to the Voice Symposium last month, I did learn a bit about kind of some of the things that are being developed with it, and I will say that I do know that typically we shouldn't be using the term false fold for distortion and things like that, because that's not even the right medical term for the mechanism that would be used. And not all distortions are false fold distortions. There's tons of different ones out there, and they're all being studied and they're all being researched. And so at this point, I used to kind of have pretty strong opinions about harsh vocals, and I'd say, I don't know. We don't have the research to talk about this stuff being sustainable or healthy or blah, 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 blah. But we're really starting to get some good research on this thanks to the University of Utah. They're doing a really, really good job of kind of figuring some of these things out. So now that I feel a little bit better knowing that there's some real pedagogy being developed about this kind of thing, I can just kind of sit back and enjoy it and not worry about it too much. I think that a lot of people have ruined their voices over the years trying to make these things sustainable and trying to figure out some kind of technique and method, and we're kind of to that point. So I say all that to say that it's cool to hear people using distortion a little bit more consistently, a little bit more aggressively, and knowing that we do have ways to do that these days that are a lot more sustainable than what they used to be. And also, the raspy distortion stuff, you don't hear that in women as much as you do with men. So it's nice to see more women stepping into the fold. I mean, there are some other examples of this, obviously. Like there's the whole like Ginger was a big one. I haven't talked about her on this channel at this point, but there are a lot of higher profile women that are really starting to get into this vocal distortion thing, and it's cool to hear. And it's good to see that because we're starting to understand the voice more and more people are able to add this element into the singing style and into the singing sound. I know this isn't really pedagogy, it's just a perspective, but that's kind of, for those of you who've watched my metal content in the past and have wondered about my opinions on this is kind of where I stand on the topic now. She's talented. She's a talented singer. Very expressive. Good control, good melisma, motion of multiple notes on singular vowels. Yeah, she's very talented. My biggest commentary about this in terms of like critiques has nothing to do with her singing and everything to do with the production. And I just don't know anything about that stuff to be able to tell them what she should be doing. What I can say is that to my ears as a musician, the production was a distraction. So maybe I'm the only person who feels that way. I don't know. Maybe there are other people who feel that way, but for my ears, the vocals were too loud in the mix, like pushed forward way too much. It's like clipping. It's like if I took my mic and put it over my mouth and like it kind of had that effect, and that has nothing to do with her singing. So I don't know. Maybe it's intentional. Maybe the original song is mixed like that. I don't know. Again, it's a cover, so I could be completely wrong, and I'm completely open to being totally wrong about that. But yeah, for my ears, I think the production could be a little better, but her singing's good. She's a talented singer. I really like it. I like her breath engagement. I like her tone. Very honest, natural alto tone. I like that she doesn't go way, way up in the stratosphere and try to make her voice into something that it's not. I like that she uses the tools that she has rather than trying to create ones that she doesn't. I like that she's using some of the distortion stuff too. So really good performance. I definitely enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you have not. I do offer voice lessons. Please join my Discord server if you're interested. I give a free 30-minute vocal assessment to all incoming new students. I also do have a Patreon. Please support me if you do like my content. It is harder than ever to break through all this copyright nonsense, and I'm trying to be educational for all of you, so please support me if you can, and I will see you all again soon. Thank you. Bye.